are you?
You got a nice new shirt on, I see.
Thank you very much. I didn't have the shirt. Could have brought it in. The one that you were wearing last time we met, which was in New York. It was a Nicole Fari shirt or something like that.
Oh, I'm Paul Smith now.
And I showed
Paul Smith today.
I showed my wife the happy snaps we took when we were there. He's wearing your shirt, you know. So, yes, you're elegant as usual, though, in dark colours, David.
Vaguely, yeah.
You've been doing this incredible summer. I mean, phenomenal hard work, and I'm not going to say anything about, you know, at your point in your career or anything. You're obviously having a fantastic time.
I'm having a fantastic time, Mark. We did, altogether, 35 shows, and 25 of those were festivals, so it's been heavyweight festival year. Last year, we did the same thing. We only did about 7 or 9 festivals last year. And it's just exploded this year. We've been asked to do a lot of festivals, so we've sort of become a bit of a festival van.
You do.
Festival van.
You don't do this because you have to. You do it because you want to.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely adoring the work. I've got a very fine band, and I like the selection of material that we're doing. It's pretty Catholic. I mean, it spreads through from Hunky Dory right through to Outside and Earthling, so...
And this is the tour on which you went back on your Never Play My Hits word again. Now I know we've asked you about this before.
I'm doing 2 hits.
Do you ever think about the effect you have on people's lives, particularly British people who have grown up with you and your music, you know?
I think it comes to me, really sort of hits me on the head when I do an old song that I've not done for a long time in front of an audience for the first time after many years. And suddenly it has its own resonance, and I start to feel that, wow, that was kind of an important song in my life too.
You kind of weaved into the fabric of people's lives. I mean, Emma, who produces this show, is like, you know, a Bowie nut. She's here, and, you know, it's amazing, that kind of thing. I mean, is it a special...
But we all have that. I remember very clearly things like, say, for some reason, 10cc, I'm Not in Love. I get a vivid impression of driving across the desert in New Mexico while I was making the film Man Who Fell to Earth. There are some songs that really do conjure up a very strong time capsule thing.
Is that a song you like?
Not really. No, it's just there, you know. It's just I just remember it being there constantly in my head at that time. It was on the radio all the time.
Apart from the fact that Earthlings has been a successful album this year.
It has. It's been a tremendous
and it's really brought you back. I mean, and the fantastic thing is, I mean, I was at the Hanover Grand gig, which was kind of like the very early stage.
That was the public rehearsal. Yeah, we did over 3 hours worth of material.
You did,
just to see what we had.
God, you made us stick around, didn't you?
Well, the thing is, you know, I always tend to double up the amount of material I intend doing on the festival shows, and so we were doing maybe 90 minutes on the festival shows. So we had 3 hours worth of material.
Because nobody would leave, you see, because they just thought, well, the next record he's going to do is going to be another one of my favourites. So, you know, we stuck around.
The next one's got to be the end. How long can he do?
Not true. Well, but you did. I mean, there were some inspired things in that gig, like a version of Oh Superman, which was, you know, just blew me away.
That one we kept in, and that's just gotten better. I mean, mainly I wanted to do that with Gail Ann Dorsey because I intend producing an album with her next year, and we're starting off at the moment sifting through kinds of directions for her, and this one seemed like a good jumping off point for her, and it became a very popular song in the show, actually.
This is Mark Goodier with David Bowie Sunday Morning. Now, when you were 50, Radio wanted a special programme.
Way back then.
All those months ago.
Yeah.
And you recorded some acoustic songs for
indeed.
that, which will only get heard again on Radio 1 when that programme gets its repeat, hopefully later in the year. So I'm going to choose one later. You choose one of that list of songs. I'm going to read this list out, and let's let the audience see which they would go for. The Man Who Sold the World, Aladdin Sane, White Light, White Heat, Shopping for Girls, Lady Stardust, The Superman, Repetition, Andy Warhol, my choice for later, Quicksand, and I Can't Read.
Well, I've just changed my mind. I was going to... I want to... I Can't Read.
OK, well, it's your choice, and we'll play it. Luckily, we've got all of them here on this tape. Bowie here, as well as your record doing well this year and you being back on tour. I don't know if you've heard this record, this Puff Daddy record, which samples Let's Dance. Have you heard it yet?
I have indeed. In fact, I believe it may be his next single.
Yeah.
And he's asked me to do some work with him, I think on a video for it in a couple of weeks' time. I'm pretty happy about that. It's nice to see... I was really quite chuffed when Oasis did Heroes as well.
Yeah.
Although I can't wait for the new album.
It's pretty universally agreed that it wasn't a patch on the original, I have to say.
It's different, isn't it?
You're too generous.
And we also had... Dr. Dre did Fame earlier this year. I'm doing a piece at the moment with Well, no, I shouldn't tell you, really.
Go on, no, give us a secret.
All right.
Come on.
Ice Cube is doing something with me on a track called I'm Afraid of Americans. And,
which is a track on the album.
Yeah, but Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails really wanted to do a job on it. He wanted to remix it. So he said, hey, I got hold of Ice Cube, he loves the track, and he wants to do some thing on it.
Is that the way to approach you when you've got like a finished idea and all you've got to do is present it to David and say, oh, that's cool.
Well, it's usually a good idea to sort of give me
an
idea
first,
of what you want to do.
Yeah.
But Trent's a good guy. I like him a lot. I know they haven't really broken through over here, the Nails, but I think they're an incredibly talented band.
You're far too musically astute to sort of criticise Puff Daddy for using Let's Dance as a sample, but it's a really growing trend in R&B to hardly put any of your own stuff in a track.
Well, he was very cool about it. I mean, he contacted me before he did the piece, and he told me his intention, and he asked me, and we went through all the business side of it, and asked me if it was okay and all that. I mean, he's a gentleman, you know. He's a very nice guy. I've met him a few times. And I don't have a problem with that kind of sampling, you know, but I'm the first one to work in a jackdaw kind of way. I quite like using bits and pieces of what we've done over the last 40 years in rock and re-knitting it into a nice sweater.
Elton John, who will be on this show sometime in September, also has a real kind of interest in current music. He's a big drum and bass fan, we hear. I'll ask him when I interview him, but...
yeah, I see our metalheads all the time, you know?
But he won't do what you do. He won't embrace the new music. He kind of says that is for other people. I mean, do you think he's right to do that? I mean,
yes, for people like me. I just happen to like working within it.
This Mandarin version of 7 Years in Tibet, which is on the new single, is an extraordinary record. I mean, the fact that you actually bothered to learn the Chinese, and the fact that the Chinese have made this number one.
I learned it. I can read it parrot fashion straight off the card.
I heard, yes, exactly. I heard you had a coach for the recording session.
Yeah.
But on an interview I heard, you didn't take that long, it seemed, to
learn
it.
It was... there was a kiddie in Hong Kong who sang it for me. He was Taiwanese, actually, and it came over to Dublin, and there was a young lady working in a language school in Dublin. She was also Taiwanese, and she coached me through for a couple of days before the studio. Then when we went in, she came into the studio with me and helped me through it.
Line by line.
So apparently I do Chinese in a very strong Taiwanese accent.
But it's extraordinary. The Chinese made it number one. Do they not listen to the lyrics on the songs they make number one?
It's the lyrics are apparently... Well, I've seen the translation of his translation, and it's really pretty poetic. It approaches it from a different way to my lyric.
Yeah.
And I think possibly because of that, it was easier for it to be acceptable with the Chinese authorities. I mean, it's kind of getting pretty strange over there at the moment in Hong Kong. Civil rights are disappearing out the window. And I was amazed and obviously quite happy that it continued to stay on the radio.
Are you going to try and play China?
I wouldn't think that would now be possible.
You never know. They're not known as a forgiving lot, but it's possible.
We'll see.
You're about to go off to the States, I know, but there are some... I mean, the one thing I shouldn't let you go without talking about is this fantastic project for the year 2000. I mean, everybody's doing something for the year 2000, and David, you're being typically ambitious, aren't you?
Well, it wasn't my idea, I'm pleased to say, because I don't usually work that far in advance. The committee of the Salzburg Festival in Austria decided that they wanted to see Outside staged in some way. So they approached American director Robert Wilson and asked him if he'd be interested in working with me on a production for it. So we've got a 3-year plan to get it on stage. He works in a very epic, monumental way, so it'll be an extraordinarily visual spectacle, I'm sure. And we start going to our first workshop in January, February of next year. I'm very excited about it.
It is a lot of work to do, though, isn't it?
It is a lot of work, yeah.
In between, presumably, recording a new album?
Yes, I'm doing a lot of work with, hopefully, doing some work with Goldie and Trent Reznor, and I want to produce Gaylan Dorsey's album and do some interesting new things myself. So next year I won't be on the road. I'm taking the year off and just writing and recording.
Not one for a quiet life.
Not really.
Anymore.
No.
Fantastic to see you. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
And now, Andy Warhol, this is from the special sessions you did for our Radio 1 programme. David Bowie.
Bye-bye.